Welcome back to another episode of Fawning Over Films. We are continuing with the Alien franchise, and next up on the list is Alien Resurrection. This is the 1997 release. So let's go ahead and start with our history of the film. I saw this one in my, I want to say, mid 20s, and it did not leave a very lasting impression. Now, I have seen it a few more times since then, and every time I watch it, I remember how disappointed I was at the first time. So, overall, wasn't the best experience, wasn't my favorite.
S- So I definitely saw this when early in my 20s, like it had been past its run in theaters. Um, I will come clean. I was a huge Joss Whedon fan. Well, still am a fan of a lot of the work he has done. Unfortunately, the Venn diagram of my love for his work and my disappointment with him as a person is a full circle.
This is a good example of separating the art from the artist, or trying to.
Well, I'm going to put a pin in that little thing you just said. To that later after we're all done with this. But yeah, like did some exceptional work up unto this point, and I think this was the second feature film he would go to write. First one being Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He had done touch ups for some other films and wasn't given full credit, but yeah, this was like his second time out, and it is not that great. I definitely have apologized for this movie in my past, but I am not holding back this time. No, the gloves are off.
It's time. Yeah. Previously seen in our last podcast, we covered Alien 3, and Ripley landed on the Foundry prison planet. The alien wreaked havoc, and she did a swan dive off this mortal coil, and we thought that this nonsense was going to be over, but here we are, and we were all wrong. All of us. Every one of us, we were wrong. Some of us guessed.
Even Sigourney Weaver thought this was done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's just dive in. So we open on the grossest opening credits crawl I've ever experienced. Like straight out of a this is the most horror the series has been in a while. Like body horror, but still horror. Uh, we come to find out that it is 200 years in the future from the events of Alien 3, rather. Scientists aboard the Auriga? Auriga? I'm pronouncing this horribly.
I think it was
Aruga?
Arugia.
It's an illegal use of a vowel in the middle. So, anyway, the scientists above aboard this ship have used some of Sigourney Weaver's blood from Aliens 3. Don't know how they got it.
The suspicion is under Clemens when he was tinkering around and giving her his cocktail of mixes. To point that out, I know we're past that movie, but I have to say that I'm pretty sure whatever he was giving her is what prevented the queen from coming out of her for so long, because otherwise there's no way it took weeks in stasis.
Yeah. Well, another like weirdness about this queen development's gonna pop in really quickly. Not to mention it. So yeah, they've got Ripley's blood, and they've been doing some cloning. And looks like this Ripley we open up on is the eighth one. Which Jesus.
They did not
So it
stop.
looks like so it looks like in the cloning process, the alien was already like attached to her, which would kind of make sense. That's what Clements was getting
Mm-hmm.
when pulling blood samples or whatever. So it's got both the alien's DNA and Ripley's DNA kind of commingling together. So when they're making these clones, they're actually making human xenomorph hybrids, which is fucking scary.
They all looked terrifying and deformed and not properly created. If you,
Oh no. So part of we see the most human one, I guess, is this number 8, and we go from test tube to her on an operating table, and they are taking out the queen baby, which is so weird. Like, how would it grow that way?
I think the queen is like comes from a queen face hugger from what they supposedly explained in Aliens 3, and then it just grows and looks a little bit
And
different.
so the baby queen alien, when they were dragging the test tube for this one, grew with inside the human.
That's a really good question because it can't
That's was
just.
my thing, was like, did they give her a face hugger, or was that already in her?
It would
That
make
was
it would make the most sense if they gave her a face hugger in the lore of how they get the alien.
yeah. But just like the weird like way of how did that get in there just kind of hangs with you. I'm like,
I'm sorry.
how?
Plot hole number one
Yeah,
of the
it's like
many
how?
upcoming.
So yeah, they take the baby queen out, and you can kind of tell at this point, and they're gonna expand on this in the further down the line, but there's like a little connection, like a hive mind kind of thing going on between Ripley and this other and the alien baby.
I still think they gave her some weird motherly love attachment to it, though.
And they decided to keep Ripley alive because, like, oh, she's actually doing the most healthy of all of them. It's like, okay, we'll just keep studying, keep do what you do. End up, Ripley's got like enhanced strength, enhanced speed. Like, she's what you worry about when you're creating a xenomorph hybrid. Like, something this company would totally sell to for military purposes. 100%. This is not going well.
No. Does it ever, though?
And they also kind of suss out, because Ripley starts remembering stuff like this. The clone starts remembering a past life of Ripley, which is another like. There's no way this happens.
No, because that's not a.
So
In,
apparently, yeah,
well, in all theories, that's not how a clone works.
it's not how memory works.
Right. It's not stored in the blood.
The blood is not the cloud.
Is it? Is there something here that we don't know?
I mean,
Are we tapping into something expensive here?
no, we're just typing into like writing conveniences. Because it's weird to have Sigourney Weaver being a clone of Ripley, but not acting right Ripley. So you just write in a reason. Oh, she, mysteriously has her memories, because sci-fi is weird, and you could do that, but I'm just calling a spade a spade.
Yeah.
We also like get a conversation between the Ripley, the scientist who cares too much, and the one who is like the dirt bag for this movie. And yeah, just pretty much setting out that they are treating Ripley like, a little gerbil and not necessarily a human. And again, Jackass being 100% like, you are the bad guy for this movie, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. So, a group of mercenaries at this point. There's Elgin, Michael Wincott, Joner, Ron Perlman, who is my favorite, other than Ripley, of course. There's Christy, played by Gary Dourdan, Vreese, Dominic Pinon, Hillard, Kim Flowers, and Call as Winona Ryder. I said that backwards. Winona Ryder as Call. They all arrive at the Auriga on their ship. I don't think we're saying that right. Um, anyway, their ship is the Betty, and they are unknowingly delivering, a bunch of abducted humans in cryo. They knew that there was humans in cryo, but they didn't know specifically what they were taking them to this medical facility for.
And you would assume medical facility, it's like, at least, trying to be helpful,
Yeah,
maybe.
doing tests that could, like, donating organs. You're supposed to be
I
doing
re-
good.
I really do want to know like what speech Elkin gave all these guys. Like how did he pitch it to them? Like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Don't ask questions. You're getting paid.
I mean, I guess in the future, space human trafficking is a line that you're willing to cross.
I mean, there's so many lines that have been crossed already.
Yes, true.
But anyway, they are using these humans as hosts for the aliens, raising several xenomorphs for study. They've got 3 of them in captivity that we'll discuss a little later on. So the Betty crew soon encounters Ripley 8. This is where it gets fun. And there was a great encounter between Ron Perlman and Sigourney Weaver where the shot that she made in the film was not edited. There was no CGI there. She legitimately made that shot.
So cool. It's so cool.
And Ron Perlman nearly destroyed the scene.
I I disagree. I don't. I think they should have let it in, like him exclaiming, like "Oh my god!" and looking at the camera. Just leave that in. It would
he
have
he
been
apparently
perfect.
yeah, he apparently looked directly at the camera and said, "Oh my god."
You know what? As sci-fi nerds, we like a little fourth wall breaking. That would have been fine.
Yeah. 'Cause, especially knowing that, that was an honest reaction, not plotted.
Yeah, like it just adds a little bit of sparkle.
So Call recognizes who Ripley is, or the name Ripley, sneaks into her pen. This really, I don't know, it's really cool chamber. It's like a giant hollow bullet style. She attempts to kill her, and she's under the assumption that Ripley 8 is going to be used to create xenomorphs, but that's already been done. They are already born. They have already come to be.
Again, very like so the humans aren't delivered, and then we get that scene where they're all like lined up with their heads above the eggs, which again, this movie amping up the horror vibes a bit more
Which I
than
appreciate. For what it's worth, I appreciate that effort.
so they get that, and then they have 12 full-grown adults just suddenly like this movie cheats with the timeline a little
Because how
bit.
fast did they grow?
I'm just saying they cheat with the timeline just a
Well,
little bit.
how long did they gestate? Because as we talk a little bit further down, there's a scientist that they come across that it hasn't busted out of yet. So
Yeah,
we'll save that part, but keep
that's
that
what
in
I'm saying.
mind.
Like they're playing fast and loose with the gestation period.
So we've hit plot hole number 4 at this point.
Oh, we'll just let's keep pulling those tabs. It's going to be a lot of them.
So the awkward conversation ensues.
Oh yeah, with Ripley and Call, like there are bits of it that are like really interesting, but when Ripley starts doing like the weird slide into an LSD kind of vibe, it's like a scene that should have been shorter. Like
Yeah.
just cut that little bit out.
It was an odd choice to keep that one in length.
Yeah. And I think it's again seeding a little bit more of like Ripley being under like a hive mind because the aliens are technically like getting out at that point. Thus, like she's feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
but the execution is just so weak.
Yeah.
And again, I wanted to point out that in the Alien movie, Ripley points out, "Hey, you are all gonna die," and Call looks at her and kind of brushes it off and goes, "No, we need to like worry about this thing right now." And it's like, again, Ripley has been disregarded.
For what is this? The fourth movie for the fourth time. Four times she has warned
Even
them.
she died, came back, and people are still not listening to her.
No. So at that point, while they're discussing all of that, the three mature xenomorphs that they have in containment, two of them turn on one and they start attacking it, slicing it, biting it, and ends up killing it. And the acidic blood burns through the bottom of the enclosure. And at the same time, the crazy little scientist was trying to hit the freeze button, but it was too late. Oh no, too late. But
Why'd you have three of them together?
uh, because he was under the impression that they could be trained. Because remember, he got all
Oh
weird
yeah,
and
yeah, but
and
still,
like
like,
started moving his face side to side in front of the glass, thinking it's mimicking him. And then he starts kissing on the glass, so the alien like rah, throws its little mouth out and hits the glass. And he got all pissy in his pants and then hit the freeze button, hurting the poor thing. This is the only time I'm gonna defend the alien because he got weird with him. That's not okay.
you know, yeah.
You can't get weird with the alien like that.
I Wayland Utani. Well, I guess this is not Wayland Utani. This is
No.
like they actually made out. This is like subcontractor company that got hold of Ripley's blood that's doing this. But like, yeah, all these big companies are the real villain here. Let's not forget that.
Right. And all while this is happening, the Betty crew are rounded up and accused of terrorism because apparently Call is now a terrorist and none of them knew it. They only say this because she tried to kill Ripley 8.
I, from the way they say it, it's insinuated that no, she was actually like, I guess, part of a protest group, or like she was part of a like a larger group that was just like using these pirates to get on this ship.
Well, it had to have been, now that you put it that way, because she said that she she's an automaton, so she was a robot created by robots. And she said at one point when she was talking alone with Ripley that she hacked into the, for lack of better words, the mainframe and found all of the government secrets and everything like that. So they didn't really specify a timeline of when they found that out. Did she find that out when she was already on that ship assisting them? Which,
Oh no, I think she was like, oh no, this military slash medical ship out in the middle of nowhere is definitely got to be, or like they knew something was going on, and she was like, no, I'll go check that out
yeah,
because it also her familiarity with Ripley, like she knew about that lore, she knew what was going on with this shit. So like it seemed like a mission to her.
yeah. No, yeah, that's a really good point. So a little shootout happens. They get whooped a little bit, and then the alarms start going off. So the aliens capture Jonathan Guide. Am I saying this right? Guideman,
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 yeah, Guideman.
played by Jeremy. Nope, played by Brad Dourif, and they
Yeah,
damage the Auriga. Huh?
yeah, he's the one that was like all lovey-dovey with the alien,
Yeah,
like being the weird creepo.
yeah. Okay, so he's the scientist
Yeah,
we were talking about previously.
yeah, yeah.
So they damage the Auriga and kill most of the crew who failed to evacuate, including General Perez, played by Dan Hedaya. Hedaya. I cannot read today. No, today is not my day.
Oh, these are some difficult names.
Let me try this one more time. Dan Hedaya and Elgin. There we go. The guy in
Yes.
the wheelchair gets double teamed another alien gets into a escape pod that's full of a bunch of people. General Perez throws a grenade in and blows up the whole thing. Then he gets ganked by an alien, and there's this scene where he's reaching around and grabs the back of his head and pulls a piece back, and it's assumed to be a piece of brain. It's a very off-putting scene. I'm not sure why that one was particularly included. It is
No,
definitely.
I'm pretty sure while Joss Whedon was writing this, he was reading, saw the movie Hannibal, or yeah, Hannibal, and was like, oh, eating the brain. I gotta definitely use that.
Oh no, no, it was off. It felt weird. Elgin gets killed from below. Feels kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
It just feels like pedestrian, anticlimactic. Like he's presented as like the leader of this group, but like he gets ganked from below. It's just kind of, I don't know.
And they don't even pull him all the way through. Like he's just dragged halfway in, bitten a couple times.
And then Ripley ends up shooting through his corpse.
Oh, that was actually pretty good though. Alien got real close for comfort. She said, "Pow!"
uh you could tell like the Hillard, the person who was like that guy's romantic interest, I guess, like they were partners in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that she was really bothered by that.
Oh yeah, because there was a scene right after that where she went over to his body and Ripley went over there as well, and she got mad and said, "No, don't touch him."
He's bad.
Yeah.
He's bad. So the alarms start going off, or like no, it's Ripley feels like the ship moving. Um, and it's revealed that when something bad happens on the ship, its default command is to go back home. Well, where is home? Home is Earth. And immediately Ripley's like, nope, can't let that happen.
Once again, they failed to listen to her. Did not heed the warnings.
Yeah, no. And apparently they have 3 hours to get there, which that is fast
Well,
the
he
way they are
also
traveling.
said General Perez also said like there's no way she could feel it because they have stealth mode. So I wonder if that has anything to do with their speed, or implying that they have high speed, therefore stealth mode makes their high speed quiet.
Must be nice in the future for that. Damn. Well, I mean, it is 200 years in the future, so maybe. Oh, shit. We never know. So, realizing that the xenomorphs cannot go to Earth, they're trying to figure out what they can do to destroy the ship, but also, not be on the ship when they do that. So they're going to try and get on the Betty and have the ship do a self destruct, and or just not land properly and just you know, blow up when it hits Earth.
Right.
Which not a great idea. It's like, here, let me shoot this meteor at this planet and then land.
Not the best of ideas, but they're working with what they got.
True. Um, so as they're on the way to get to the Betty, they discover the lab that has the other Ripleys, and yeah, this is like ever evolving and like gross, horrific, uh, body horror things. Like it's like Aliens meets The Fly. It's horrible. A little bit of The Thing mixed in there too.
A little bit. I can definitely see some of that.
Ripley finds one of the copies of her that is not in a tube and has been hooked up on a table, begging for death. She's then given a flamethrower. Yeah.
Severely deformed. Like you could, it's obvious she was like, kill me. Like she did not deserve to have that kind of life.
Oh no! And Ripley is given a flamethrower and proceeds to a good little breakdown while destroying this lab. I'm sure it's cathartic, but also like it's horrific.
And of course, oh, what's his name? Jonan?
The
Ron
guy,
Perlman.
yeah, the guy playing Ron Perlman playing himself.
He was like, it must be a woman thing. That struck a little hard because that tells me right there you haven't experienced a state of trauma at that point.
I mean, you are asking a lot emotionally of a man whose first lines in this movie are literally monkey noises.
I mean, he also shot a spider, so
Yeah. That's like asking high weight speeds out of like a pedal bike. It's like, I don't think he's built for that. I don't think this character is built for that.
yeah, he can't make that.
All right, so where were we?
Exterior shot. So the ship looks like okay. So the exterior shot of the ship looks like
Yeah.
Jupiter. So they're moving fast, but they're still, for lack of better words, they're at least 2 hours out.
So they were like Neptune by the time this whole thing started. So not that far from Earth. Everyone's shocked that they're going to Earth. Like, you guys were pretty close.
Yeah.
And like the grand view of space, you were right next door.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they were too close. So, and this is the part where we had talked about just a brief moment earlier. They find a random guy who is one of the surrogates, and he is freaking out, and she says that he's got one inside of her, and he freaks out even more. And he's, what's inside of me? What's inside of me? So Ripley gives them the cold truth, and they all decide we can't kill him here. We'll take him with us, and we'll put him in the cryo. So they're trying to save him, but do they really think that the doc is going to help them? Once again,
No.
like, if they get that there, do you really think they're going to, like, kill it? No, probably not.
Nah. No.
No. So, as the group navigates, they go through the damaged ship, and they have to go through the kitchen, which is flooded. And, God, I'm so bad with names. The girl.
The one who was Hillard.
Hillard.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I know exactly what the faces look like, but I can't put names to anybody except for Call Ripley and Ron Perlman.
Yeah, she was apparently not a good swimmer and was damn near having a panic attack before they were going to go in here.
Yeah, she was not having it. And in the process, they are pursued by two xenomorphs. One is killed while getting shot by what looked to be a miniature rocket launcher, which was pretty cool to see that go off underwater. The
Yeah.
CGI there was really not that bad. It looked fairly well done.
Mm-hmm.
It really kind of put you in the seat, like, nope, you don't have to draw your attention away with this. It was very smooth.
I think the danger of this one is we had seen aliens like on a spaceship. We had seen aliens like in like a factory, but like to see aliens in water, like a whole new environment, and they're still deadly as hell, which is frightening.
Oh, yeah, they did a really good job in planting that one.
It's like there really is no environment to get away from these guys. They will hunt you through everything.
Yeah. So one is killed, and then the other one snatches poor Hillard. She did not want to go down there in the first place. She was not ready for that. So
No.
as they escape,
They break into they bust up this membrane into the egg room.
yep, and they said it's a trap. So the aliens led them or forced them in that direction. Smart. Smart little things. What do they keep calling it? The perfect organism?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not wrong.
So the xenomorph returns, and this time it blinds Christy, and then he sacrifices himself to kill the creature. Ren betrays the group in this couple scenes later. It just dragged out the killing scenes a little bit, which
Well,
wasn't.
as they're getting up, they're crawling up through the elevator shaft, and like they're about to go through the door, and he's like, "No, boom."
Yeah, so he shoots Call, and then the CSI dude dies too. So
Yeah, that was Christie, and just yeah, I will always see his face as like, "Oh, you're just the guy from CSI."
yeah, forever known as him. But also, Call survives and later pops up presenting herself to be an android because Ripley's like, "Oh wow, you're a robot." I
Well, I
knew,
mean, if you've been,
I knew people couldn't be that humane.
well, also we'd gone the whole movie without hitting our android. Like someone on this movie had to be one.
Oh yeah, just who was it? Guess we found out.
So we Call is outed as being an android, and everyone's like, "Oh no, you can connect to the ship and help us out." And she doesn't really seem like she wants to do this, but reluctantly, hooks up to the ship and sets it up to have a collision course with Earth. Again, doing a lot of hoping that that will actually kill the alien.
I mean, they've been proven to go through some shit.
They could survive molten lead. Why doesn't this is a gap in memory that Ripley should not have like if she was going to have her memory, she should have known.
Yeah. Nope, I agree with that. They picked and
Yeah.
cherry picked what memory she should have.
I do like that she gets her revenge by cutting off Rin's escape route and directing Xenomorphs directly to him. It's like, yeah, good choice. Good choice. Let's see. As they're trying to get to the Betty, Ripley has a weird, like, she starts getting, like, the hive mind starts calling her, and she, again, it's a little bit more LSD trippy, ends up going through the floor and is taken away by the aliens, or, like, kind of, like, hangs out with them for a little while as everyone just, like, fuck's going on, and keeps going towards the Betty.
Yeah, she just dipped out. Well, Call was trying to get her back and get everybody to stop, but that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, no, but like I said, she was, like, she was in the rapture of the hive mind.
Oh yeah.
She's then like taken to the nest where we find that they haven't killed Gaiden yet. He is still alive and like cocooned to a wall and pontificating on his love for these creatures and which I'm surprised they hadn't killed him by now. Just like at the rate he's talking.
He says some very questionable things. Like his actions themselves are suspicious.
Yeah, so we come to find out that the alien that was taken out of Ripley also had some genetic shenanigans like going on with it. So like Ripley had gained stuff from the alien. The alien gained a human reproductive system,
What?
and we get we get to see the birth of a hybrid alien, which is so fucking creepy.
A much more humanoid looking alien in a not so fun way. It was I do have to say the special effects on it were incredibly well done. It was very gross. It was the way she embraced it and stuff.
It has that look where like you can feel your skin like actually like rebel against looking at it. You're like your body is forcing you to look away. It's like ugh.
It's so bad. They did a really good job with that, but and it's kind of like it makes these like really coddling baby noises, which makes it even worse.
It's real gross. Also, while this is happening, the guys make it to the Betty, and Ren, of course, does his little double cross again. Of, hey guys, no, I'm taking the ship. I'm just going to kill you. the guy Purvis, the one who had the alien in him, decides to just go fuck it and kamikazes himself to kill Ren.
Hmm.
Pretty epic. It's a scene that I'm like, yeah, that was pretty rad.
Just the deck at the end, just bam. And then when he was grabbing him and holding on to him, and the alien busts out of his chest and busts right through him. That was tasteful. Shows the full power of even just a little baby, man. Wonder how much thrust you could calculate that as.
I guess it had to be like a bit overgrown because it's been gestating for so long.
At this point, gestation times may vary.
Oh yeah, so we get back to the queen giving birth. Um, the the weird hybrid alien tries to you know get with its mother, like bond with its mother, and apparently the queen isn't giving off the correct signals, so the baby just tears off its mother's face.
Yeah, and which horrifies Ripley, and she's backed up into a wall. So it turns to her and also kind of goes up to her, and they start having this little moment. And then, of course, how do we say it? Guideman.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So,
yeah, crazy doc.
yeah, crazy scientist. He starts yapping his mouth, and then he turns, or the alien turns and kills him, which was highly deserved because he was just getting real weird with that. All of it.
The we clearly have different definitions of what a butterfly looks like. There was no butterfly.
No.
That was just grossness.
Mm-mm. So Ripley takes advantage of the distraction to escape, and she makes her way back up to the Betty. And we get the famous quote from, was it Ron Perlman that said it to her? I thought you were dead.
Yeah,
Yeah. She immediately responds, not even skipping a beat. Yeah, I get that a lot.
chef's kiss. Mwah. Uh, he can write dialogue just so snappy. It's wonderful.
I'm sorry, but Ron Perlman and Sigourney Weaver have such good chemistry that was done so well. So the newborn hybrid reaches the Betty and attacks Call, kills Di Stefano. Oh my God.
Dis DiStefano.
Di Stefano, played by Raymond Cruz, when he tries to help her. Ripley saves Call by distracting the hybrid and using her acidic blood. Okay, so before we get to that, they were having this really intense embrace with each other where she's like rubbing all over the alien's face and like he's nuzzling her face, and it was very
Laura,
it was very uncomfortable. I understand what she was doing, but it was
yeah,
extremely disturbing.
yes.
So she's got blood on her, and using her acidic blood, she flicks her hand and melts a hole in the window and then shoves the hybrid towards that direction. I know you were going to discuss this next part, but this is my favorite scene.
Go for it.
And so she tearfully watches as all the decompression from the chamber like pulls him against the window, and you could see the pain on Ripley's face. Like she did not want to do that. She, in her hive mind state, she was compelled not.
Like I said, I feel like it's like the aliens. Like if we're talking about the aliens and her sharing traits, it's obvious like the aliens kind of operate on a hive mind, and it's okay. We'll take that, but bring human emotion into it. Like yeah, like maybe she didn't think about this as her child, but like emotionally felt compelled to because of that hive mind attachment.
Yeah. So, in the most disturbing way possible, it through that tiny hole of the window gets eviscerated from the backside out through that hole. And this is, special effects here was great, and the ending CGI where they suck them out, where like you can see his skull at the end. All of that
So
was,
good.
oh yes, so well done. I love it. Yes.
So the ship after so they uh, get settled. The ship ends up the arugula falls down, hits Earth. Giant explosion. Looks like a meteorite has hit in the Earth. The Betty kind of comes in for coming through the atmosphere, and I feel like there's a little bit of there's glimmers of Serenity and Firefly here, like the way they were coming down. It's like I've seen this scene before with Whedon. They get into the atmosphere and it's Earth, but they're not really clear with where. Like I kept trying to look for like geographic markers and really couldn't figure out where they had landed.
They were on the coast of somewhere because
Yeah.
there was a lot of seawater.
And then we get call asks Ripley, what are they gonna do next? And Ripley's like, I don't know. I'm a stranger here myself. Which I felt was a very good line. Like, kudos on that. But that is the close of Alien Resurrection.
Yep. It's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of negative things to say about it, but there's also some positive in there. They did what they could with what they had. And once again, the actors were handed this off-putting, poorly put together script, and they are the ones that brought it out. They were the ones that built it up to what it is.
Oh yeah.
So let's move on to the box office. Resurrection opened in France on November 12th of 1997, and it grossed about, what is that, 6,754,000. Did I say billion?
6 million. Yeah.
6,754,530. So pretty good. And they finished at the top of the French box office. Now, in the United States and Canada on November 26th, so we didn't get this film until like roughly a week later. We grossed 25 million in the first 5 days and another 16 million over the weekend. So all in all, the film didn't do horribly. It still brought in what they wanted it to, but it wasn't
A little bit
banger.
less than they want to, I think.
Probably, but I mean, it still wasn't
Yeah,
the
no.
banger they were hoping it to be.
Oh yeah, no, especially with the tomato meter being 39% for the viewer rating, only 55% for the critical rating. Yeah, both are kind of generous in my view.
Yeah. So some fun little tidbits about the film. For the 25th anniversary of Alien Resurrection, director Jean-Pierre Jeunet watched a 35 millimeter print of this film. And and I'm quoting here, I do not remember where I snagged this from, but he said, I was a little bit concerned to watch my film. Maybe I won't like it, he says. No, it was great. I have a lot of shots that I love. For the people that don't like it, I can say, fuck you. And my only response to that is, well, then I am utterly fucked, sir, because I did not like it.
I mean, this is another movie where Fox did some fuckery. So the first choice for Danny Boyle, and then he didn't want it. They optioned it to Peter Jackson. He didn't want it. Bryan Singer, he didn't want it. Jeanette only agreed to do it because he thought the idea of continuing the franchise, but like he had just done Amelie. This was not close to his wheelhouse at all, and I think you can tell that in the direction. Like, it feels like someone who is not experienced in sci-fi doing sci-fi.
Yeah.
I will give him points and Whedon points for again, amping up the horror in this film more than the previous ones have been.
I will definitely agree with that. And the combination of lighting effects wasn't too bright, wasn't too dark. The usage of the flashing lights wasn't overdone either, so it didn't give you a raging headache. So I appreciate that and how they went about smushing everything together.
Yeah. And then there's the whole fact of that originally for this film, they wanted it to be about Newt. And Fox was like, no, we need to have Ripley involved. And pretty much forced Whedon to write a whole new version that worked Ripley in as this clone to make the movie work.
Right.
So, again, this is, I would have loved to have seen like his first draft and what that could have been. But with this one, it's just you could tell it's very rushed, very contrived in places, and it just doesn't help the movie at all. So Fox is it's so bad for this franchise.
I still would they still call it Resurrection because they'd have to bring Newt back. She had an autopsy done on her. She was dead.
It would have been something else, but the original like idea that Whedon had was that it was about Newt being brought back.
Eh. That's not any better. That's kind of worse. No. No. So another fun fact. Oh no, I can't get over that one now. Weaver had the idea that, as an example,
Oh no, we already covered this one. We covered it when we just talked about the scene earlier.
oh, that's right. Yeah, because the shot was completely authentic. She did that. So, what I wanted to get into with this part, though, is she trained for a month and she averaged 1 out of 6 baskets. And here's the kicker: when she got there that day and was ready to film, the set was built and required a much longer shot than she had originally practiced for. So that just adds to the oh my god that Ron Perlman almost fucked up the scene with because
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is Ripley who was a hybrid. She was doing that method acting and had that extra strength.
and that smile that she gave, oh, it was perfect. But there was enough pause between Weaver's shot and Ron Perlman's exclamation that they were able to cut it out, and we all
They could have made it
disagree.
work.
Yeah, we all
They could have made it
disagree.
work. Give me the oh my god cut. I want it.
Pitoff offered to edit that shot so the ball would stay in frame during the whole shot, but Weaver refused. No, beast. She said that was the shot. Too bad it's not completely in the frame, but we got it. I'm not doing that again. No,
No, she bossed it. It was your fault for not getting it right.
I don't have to do that again. So, as we come to a close, we're going to talk about some of our general thoughts, some pros and cons. Now, as much as I dislike the plot of this movie, it is very well done. I can't complain, but so much. Like, there is a lot wrong with it. A lot of it doesn't really add up into the story. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But they did a good job. And I have to say, my favorite scene is where the alien or the humanoid alien gets eviscerated out the window. I don't know why that's my favorite part. Maybe it's because of how well done they did it. Maybe it was the sad facial expressions like, no, you're a monster. You need to understand this is your place. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry. But the the best part of this movie is special effects and CGI, and it's not an overly long film.
Oh no.
I don't remember how long exactly, but it's under 2 hours.
109 minutes. Like one of my notes is every movie was perfect length.
Yeah, every movie should be that long. Absolutely, I agree with that. My only cons is that things don't really line up. They don't make total sense. And I noticed some of the slang they use is like crazy 2000s modern.
Oh yeah, no, that is Joss Whedon. Rat, like, a little like that little pace of dialogue that he's got. Oh no, he talks. It's kind of regrettable because it also makes a lot of the stuff that he's written feel dated.
Yeah, yeah. What are your general thoughts on this?
Like you were saying, great acting. My general like thought with this run of Aliens film uh, is that it's like you go to TJ Maxx, buy the ugliest vase that's there, smash it on the floor, and then put it together with 24 karat gold. It's just like you've got these mediocre ideas that are propped up by really good acting, at times very good writing, at times very good cinematography. It's but as a whole, it's you could tell the team of people working on this are trying to do their best job with something that could have been better. And again, I'm hanging all that on Fox.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, 109 minutes, perfect. This is the shortest Alien film so far, and I think it would be the shortest Alien film of the franchise.
I think you're right. I don't think any of the other one. Romulus might be
Ooh,
close to this.
it could be a contender. Visceral like practical effects. Again, loving that the horror vibe is amped up in this. Maybe not in the dark space horror that the original was, but they've definitely gone more gross body horror sci-fi. You could see their influences and using the influence as well. Cons, again, Fox, hate you so much. I know this. I know these sins occurred so long ago, but I will never forgive you for this.
Yeah.
Also, watching this movie as a Joss Whedon fan, I can definitely be more generous. After hearing certain allegations, it is a very clear, like the way he has a particular vibe of misogyny that just kind of is very subtle, that rides along what is societally accepted as the male gaze, but it's just like the scene of Hillard in her thong, like it lingered on her butt for longer than it needed to. Ripley, oddly, is just real sexual in this movie.
It really is. And if that's not what they were trying to do, they sorely fucked that up because there
I
was a lot of like really odd, intimate looking scenes.
Again, it's like it's this weird like I could pass some of this off as like, oh, it's just influenced by being it was written in 1997, the mid 90s. So yeah, there's going to be some weird misogyny going on, but this just feels specific, knowing about how he is a sleazeball to so many people, and during this time as well. So it adds a new flavor to it, especially after knowing that stuff.
Yeah. You mean at
With
least
all
that
that being,
bad taste in your mouth?
oh yes, I need that orange soda.
Salty. All right, so let's move on and talk about how we're going to grade this film. I'd say this film at a face value, I'm going to throw it down to be a 7.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give this an 8. It ain't perfect, but it's definitely, if you were seeing it for the first time, it's a ride. Do not recommend repeat watches.
No. It's good the first time around, maybe the second, the third is on you. So at a deeper value, I'd say this one's a solid 5. It had. I'm gonna let you do this.
I feel like when you were looking at this on a deeper value, you're coming away with more criticisms than the cons basket is going to be way fuller than the pros basket. For as much good that the creatives in this movie did, the sum of its all parts is not. Again, I first time it's great. Repeat viewing, it it falls off after time.
Yeah.
It's-
After each watch, it just goes down a little bit more.
for Takes Me Out, I'll actually give it a higher score. Like, I'll go to a 9 because for the gross special effects, oh yeah, just like I cringed every moment. Like it was not, I was not comfortable with anything.
No, I was definitely comfortable with it all, but I enjoyed it immensely. So I will say that one definitely took me out of my seat at a 9 as well. But would you watch it again?
Not by choice, and if we do, I'm gonna argue about it. So I'm gonna put this at like a 1.
I'm gonna put this as a 4. I know I rated Alien 3 a bit higher than this, even though I hate that one a lot more than I hate this one. But there's only so many times I can ask myself these questions and not have answers to them, and it frustrates me.
I find this movie as frustrating, but in just separate, unique ways, and it's. I think I can say at this point in the Alien franchise, like I felt fatigued at this point in watching it. Like
Yeah.
in real time, like when these are coming out in theaters and being released to DVDs. By this point, it was like, ugh, why are we still doing this?
It's been drug out for so long. It's been dragged through the mud, left, stomped on, drug a little bit further, but yet we're still riding the dead horse. So, up next, we are going to talk about Prometheus, and Ridley Scott is going to take us way, 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 way back into the past with this prequel. And Prometheus came out in 2012, so this one's gonna be
Significant
fun.
break from this to Prometheus.
Yes.
Significant break.
In a whole other direction. So
Yeah. That to be fair, the xenomorph species does make some cameos in Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator Requiem, 2004, 2007, respectively. We are not going to take that detour on this podcast yet. I was saying to Bambi earlier, I wouldn't mind a Predator series run, given that 2 new entries are coming out this year and look phenomenal. Prey was great. There are so many good ones in this series. But by the end of Aliens, we're going to need a break from this connected universe that they have. So we might come back to that one.
yeah, if everyone enjoys this franchise enough and how everything went, we'll circle back around and dip into that whole new area.
Yeah.
But all right, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next one. We are releasing a video every Friday, and also don't forget to check out the other 3 podcasts we did along this franchise. We released Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. Go ahead and check them out. See you next time.
Peace.